Oh, hey there. Welcome back to the Daily Kerbal. You caught me in kind of an awkward situation here. I happen to be thinking about math, and that's actually not a joke this time. I really am thinking about math. Hey, everybody, welcome back. After our Freya 1 launch, I've just finished reconfiguring the vessel into the Freya 2 configuration, right? The one that had the bigger solid fuel boosters. What are these ones called? This is the kickback. So I replaced the thumper with the kickback. Technically, if my math is correct, and I think it is, we had 6 of these previously, which did 250 kilonewtons worth of thrust. Now these things do over 500. They do 600, in fact, in atmosphere. So considering that the 6 of these equals, what's that? That's 5 times 3, 1500 kilonewtons, and this one does 6 times 4, 24. Yeah, we're doing a lot better with these 4 engines. Get us a lot higher, a lot quicker, and a lot faster. If you'll remember, the only reason we didn't launch in this configuration was because the launch pad can't support it, right? We're about 18 tons over our weight limit. So saving this is Freya 2, and keeping all this in the right place. This is still correct, I think. Yeah. We're gonna have to upgrade our launch pad. It costs 282,000 to do it, and the vessel, as you saw, it cost us 42,000 credits in order to launch. Right? That's a 42,000 credit vessel. And this 282,000 is gonna upgrade our launch pad to the maximum. Level 3 is like the highest level that you can make it. At that point, we're not going to have to worry about any kind of weight limits or vessel size anymore. Only the part limit, right, which is set by the vehicle assembly building, but we're well within that parameter so far. The question is, now we could get the upgrade, but then we couldn't launch the vessel. So what do we do about it? Well, here's what I was thinking. I canceled our unpaid research program. It wasn't really yielding us very much science at this point anyway. And then I'm looking at what we can do to instantly get money, right? The best thing that we can do, we need we need 324. It's 282,000, right? Then we need about, 324 credits in the bank. And there are 2 ways that we can get money instantly, right? One of them is by accepting contracts. We get an advance on them. And the other one is by getting a bailout grant, I think. And this is it costs us a large amount of reputation. Since this is on a scale, I honestly don't know how much reputation we have, but it gains us, immediate funds. I'd prefer not to have to do this. So I'm going to take a look and see what contracts we can accept. It's all VIP ferrying, and damn it. This doesn't even give us an advance. Observational surveys. These are all surface things. We actually have to land on Kerbin to do these. Which, come to think of it, I mean, it's very long range, but figuring out how to land vehicles, since we're probably going to have to land a vehicle to move from site to site, right? Learning how to land vehicles on these sites might be important. Let me take a quick look at the tracking station and see where that's pointing. These are the sites? Those look like the sites. Or are these the sites? These can't be the sites because we have to land. We can't, there we are. There are the sites. They're all up there. You can't land on water, right? There's no way. You have to go all the way out there. And then I imagine those areas are relatively close by, so as long as we can land right there at that spot, then we can gather the samples easily, or the EVA reports, or whatever it wants us to do. We've already recovered Gemstead Kerbin, so we can let me just, make sure. I'm always a little bit paranoid when it comes to this. Let me check her. Yep, there's Gemstead. She's all ready for action. So let's go ahead and terminate that pod. We don't need it clogging up our view anymore. Danzer's still out there. We still need to get her back. I do believe that was... I seem to remember that one being a woman, though. So we might... I mean... I suppose we might just try a precision landing and see if we can get down there. those dots look relatively close to each other, so maybe we don't actually have to take a vehicle with us. We might be able to just do it on foot. I promise that if they turn out to be very far away from each other, though, that I will do it off camera, so you guys don't have to watch me literally walking from site to site on the planet. We're going to try it. So today's mission, we're going to take the contract. It's going to get us in advance. We're going to be able to buy our upgrade and get our ship out into space. I want to achieve this orbit. I want to bring Danzer back home. Again, no idea how she got there, but I'm sure we'll figure it out later. And then we're going to attempt a precision landing at area F7 ZTD Gamma. We'll try it. It's good practice for the future. The game puts these contracts up for some. I doubt that it would put those contracts there if they weren't, easily achievable. So let's start where we start. This is the one, right? On the surface. Yes. So 32,000 credit advance, 59 for completion. That's a lot of credits at this stage of the game, so I assume that the contract is difficult. Then we upgrade this. And there we are with 66,000. We have 20,000 left to spare. So it'd be pretty important that we complete this. Let me just take one quick look at this vessel, make sure that we got everything we need. First of all, we're going to have to free up a spot. Who do we not take? Jeb's been flying a lot, so let's put Valentina back in. And I don't know what Danzer is, so I guess we'll take the engineer with us. Yes, that should be fine. I'm looking at the logs. This is how experience works in this game. You don't earn experience per flight, you earn experience for unique achievement, right? Like, these people only get experience from having been, she only gets experience from having been in orbit around Kerbin. But I believe most everybody else, except for Bill, Valentina, Jeb, and Bob, all have experience from orbit around the moon, and she has 5 experience from planting a flag on the moon. None of that has anything to do with anything we're doing right now. I'm just find that interesting. Alright, I think we're good to launch. Freya 2 is ready for her maiden voyage. Valentina is ready to fly. Bill is in tow, and we have an empty seat for Danzer to bring her home. Let's go. Alright. Stabilization. Throttle up. 2/3 of the way. And off we go. Yes, that is a much better flight, a much better launch. I'm feeling it already. The vessel is literally the exact same except for the solid fuel boosters. I also kind of find it interesting how this is just something that occurred to me recently. I've been watching shows on the Apollo program and the moon landings and stuff, and it's interesting to note that or maybe going a little too fast here. It's interesting to note that the second Apollo mission to land on the moon, which was Apollo 12, it was sent there specifically for the reason, among others obviously, of recovering a camera from what a beautiful launch that was. Perhaps I should have focused on the gravity turn a bit earlier, but you know what, it's fine. We're slowing down a little too quickly now. Look at that apoapsis. Anyway, so the thing is that the reason that I bring this up is again just because the fact that the Apollo program, Apollo 12, was sent out there to collect a camera from an unmanned probe that had already landed on the moon once. Right, it had landed and they left it there. And because they wanted to see what the long-term exposure to, the long-term effect of being on the moon does to stuff that are built on Earth, they wanted to, bring it home and check it out. So they sent Apollo 12 on the first precision landing on the moon. Not just landing on the moon, but actually landing in a specific spot. All that Armstrong and Aldrin had to do was just find a place smooth enough to land and be happy with it. But the point being and this is something that I knew despite that fact, is that every single mission, every single manned mission to the moon, and the steps that preceded it, before every manned mission to orbit, before every manned mission to space in general, or to orbit around the moon, there was an unmanned flight to precede it. This game doesn't really seem to make that possible, and unless it was just me not knowing something that I should have known, right? Like with that very, very failed probe launch that I attempted. I don't think that it does not allow control of the craft. Like I assumed, right? My assumption was that I could build myself an unmanned probe. I could launch it up into space, and I could have it do a bunch of stuff, but it wouldn't be able to get. First of all, it wouldn't be able to plant flags. It wouldn't level up astronauts, and it wouldn't bring back nearly as much science because crew reports and EVA reports can't be done by a probe. But that probe is uncontrollable. It doesn't have an onboard SAS module, meaning that every single, stabilization maneuver, I have to keep the vessel pointed where it is manually with my WASD keys, my roll, yaw, and pitch, right? But I thought that I could, fix the fact that the probe didn't have an SAS module by placing those reaction wheels on it. I thought that's what that was for. But that didn't do anything. It added extra stability, but I couldn't turn them on. Or maybe that's it. Maybe I actually had to turn on the reaction wheels manually on the part itself and not just hit the T key for SAS. Anyway, I feel like the only thing that I could have reliably done with that probe is carry it. Like have it on a vessel, have the vessel go out to wherever it is that I want to leave the probe, just kind of detach it, leave it there, and then bring the ship back. But that kind of beats the purpose, because if I'm going to be sending a manned mission to wherever it is that I want to go, then taking a probe with me would just be extra weight. And there isn't really any point doing that. The first probe core that you get that actually has a built-in SAS module comes way later. Anyway, we actually have that probe core now, so that means that I might start to cut back on all these, piloted missions around the moon specifically. It's costing us a lot of money to launch these things. We're a lot tighter for money than I thought we would be. All right, we're going to have to disengage our main engine soon and switch to the next stage. We got very close to orbit. That speed is very good. We wanted to reach around 202,000, and we should have enough fuel left to... Come to think of it, now that we have weight limits removed, I might have put a larger fuel tank here. Extend that by 25%. Let's hope it doesn't matter. How's our orbit looking? There's our periapsis. Now look at that. Look at all that fuel we got left. But yeah, this craft isn't flying to the moon, that's for certain. But it's a perfect craft for studying, just what is required to get us up to, high orbit. And, it's important to do these kinds of things because we are eventually going to have to use these vessels to fly to the moon and to Minmus and to much, much farther places. So it's important for us to figure out exactly what is needed to get it out. And because I'm not a rocket scientist, I'm not a physicist, I'm not a cosmologist or anything, the only tool that I have to discover this, as I have mentioned many times before, is trial and error. So that's what it's going to be. Now, we're going to set Danzer's shipwreck as our target, and then we're going to warp up to the ascension node, to the ascending node. 20 degrees. Holy crap. That's going to burn up about half of our fuel trying to bring that up to 0. We're going to have to burn anti-normal, which, is it this way? It is! I got it the first time. Okay. I'm maneuvering without the SAS now, so... By the way, just in case you were wondering what it's... I'm going to wait till we get over to the sunny side. I'm going to demonstrate what happens without the SAS and why we need it. For those of you who actually know, about space exploration and stuff, this is going to be boring, but figured I might as well. So here's our spacecraft right now. It is currently unstabilized, as in the SAS module is not active. Now, if I hit my pitch key just a tiny bit, here's what happens, right? You can see my pitch indicator moving down there, and I'm not doing anything right now. If I was, then the indicator would be out. It would be stretched in one direction. Since there's no air in space, the particles are extremely far away from each other. Single movement that starts like this, it will continue to go forever and ever and ever. It's the reason we can stay in orbit up so long is because there's nothing to slow us down, right? But similarly, there's nothing to slow you down from how you move either. That's why we have a bunch of gyroscopes and reaction wheels on the ship to help with that. In order to stop this from happening without an SAS module, right, if I was just flying with that stupid Stay Putnik probe, then I would have to literally manually control the pitch. Push the pitch in the opposite direction. See it slowing down right now? There we go. You can also see the gimbal on the engine as I move it. See? But anyway, now we've kind of stopped. But in order to not have to do that manually, I can just either, flash turn on an SAS just to briefly stop us before letting go. The reason for that, the use for that obviously being the fact that the SAS consumes electricity. So if electricity is a problem, we've also passed the ascending node while I was busy talking. And we're going pretty quickly there. So at this point, we might as well just go over to the descending node and perform our maneuver there. We are moving in the right direction, aren't we? Yeah, we are. Okay. A while ago, there was no indicator on the... when I say a while ago, I mean like back through previous iterations of this game, previous versions of it. There was no indication as to whether or not the what direction they were orbiting in. The orbital path was there, but at times there are later missions when you have to launch satellites and put them up in space in specific orbits. And when I thought that I completed the mission, I was standing there and like my orbit matches the orbit that is drawn for me. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not moving in the right direction. I'm orbiting the opposite direction. You can see that it's lighter where he's been, so the darker side is the direction he's moving. Anyway, let's start this thing. No need to rush it now. It's not even really a need to conserve fuel that much. Just make sure that our periapsis doesn't drop. That's what's important. How's our node looking? 17. Let's speed it up a bit. We got plenty of fuel left. It's probably due to those solid fuel boosters that we did so well that we switched it out. Oh, we're dropping. No, we're not. We're going up again. Good. 14 degrees. 13 degrees. Doing maneuvers like this is also important, especially considering that we're going to be attempting a precision landing. I pretty much guarantee that it's not going to work out, but this might be a very good excuse for us to bring the aviation program back. Just to try building airplanes again. Although that is pretty darn far away from HQ. Because we already passed the node, it's not going to be perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until the nodes are almost exactly perpendicular to us, like considering that being our diameter. That because when it's exactly 90 degrees from this line, that's as good as it's going to get. 1.2 is not bad at all. So I'm going to quick save this right now. Then we're going to turn ourselves to the prograde vector. And I'm going to wait until we're perpendicular to their apoapsis. So we can match our orbit. Right about there. Okay. Prograde. Let's burn. Poodle's not packing nearly the power I thought it would. This engine is supposedly one of the most fuel efficient for small spacecraft, so that's why we're using it. Alright, let's see how we do. Almost there. I want to get the apoapsis matched up to that as close as I can. That will make the... Whoop. How's that? Their apoapsis is 1,375,000. This one is 363. It's close enough. That's fine. Okay. Now, we're going in a smaller orbit, right? So we're catching up to it. Let's see what happens when we pass the intersection node. It's actually a lot farther apart than it appeared at first, but it is now all the way over there. So I'm going to extend our orbit, and I might even just, like, I'm not even going to bother matching it up too much if I don't have to. I'll just see if I can't, you know, bring it in. Although, yeah, it looks like it's not coming close fast enough. The thing is, if I let our orbital path go higher than that one, then we might, that intersect might actually meet. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's just keep pushing. All right, slow down. Slow down. Whoop. 9.8 kilometers. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. Quick save. This is a position from which we can still get home if we have to. And we're also still in a position to revert the flight if need be. Let's warp to here. We've now slowed down compared to the target, which means it's catching up to us. See that? There we go. Okay. How far right are we? 12 minutes. Okay, let's go closer. It's our target velocity. 86, that's not bad. Okay. 6 minutes. 5, 4. I'm gonna stop us at 2. There we go. Now, we might want to... This is gonna take a lot of fuel. I'm sure it will, and I forgot to turn that. Okay, remember, once again, we're pushing the retrograde vector. Try and keep this up. We're now 0.7 kilometers away at our closest intersect. That's perfect. I'm not even going to touch that. The literal only thing I'm going to do is when we get, you know, close enough, I am now going to, I don't necessarily care about getting too much closer, I might as well, but I do care about killing our relative speed. So I'm going to do that. I actually deliberately don't want to go too close to it because there's also, if I accidentally get too precise, there's a danger of us hitting the target. Smashing into it. Alright. Could bring this just a little bit closer though. Yeah, there. That's fine. Okay. Do. Again, we're not performing docking maneuvers this time, we're just performing orbital rendezvous. That is very close. Let's switch over to Danzer. That's a spaceplane pod. Experimental engineering. I'm probably going to have a word with their reps. Have no power in there. Anyway, let's just EVA her. And we're Where's the ship? There it is. We're still close, getting closer. Alright, activate our EVA propellant, and then start moving us toward there. Oh my goodness, look at that. This is what high Kerbin orbit looks like from the view of an astronaut. Why are we spinning? Because I don't have SAS on. Damn, darn. Must have hit that key by accident. Alright. Let's move towards the vessel. That's the reason we got flung off like that, was because we didn't have the SAS on. Alright. Speed up a bit. I'm currently, honestly, to be completely frank, the part that I'm the most excited for in, the class of future missions that we're going to get, I'm very excited for constructing orbital bases. Because, well, honestly, it's quite possibly the single most boring thing you can do in space. And that, in this game too, it's one of the most boring things. And the most time-consuming, by far. But you get to do it all from up here, moving kind of slowly through space. As you just kind of very slowly dock each individual space station parts to each other. To the greater whole. We're not going to collide, are we? No, we're going to fly right by it. But look, we could have even waited longer if we wanted. What's our... Oh no, we're already past the point of the closest approach. Why are we still... No, it's moving away from us. Okay, never mind. Well, that's it for this mission. Now the question is the fuel that we have left enough to land us there? Now, before we find out, the problem with that place is that it's not an equatorial area. And there are so many variables considering, just how to get there. It's going to be rotating, first of all. And second of all, we are on a long distance away. So not only is it going to be rotating away from where we are, but even if I do manage to target us, a bit of it ahead of the orbital path, I have to have it on an angle. Oh, man. I mean, I only really took the contract to get the money. Excuse me for that. I just wanted to speed up time until we got to a point where we were that zone we needed to land on was on the sunny side of the Earth, of the Kerbin. But makes no difference because we have no chance. With this amount of fuel, it took us like half of this entire tank just to get us oriented this way. So we are not landing there today. That's fine because we don't actually have to complete the contract in this exact mission. This contract today was all about bringing home a stranded astronaut. So let's just worry about bringing them home, shall we? And once again, it's because I'm a sucker for punishment. I want to bring us home, at the right spot. So we're probably going to be spending a couple orbits out here for several reasons. This is actually for your viewing pleasure more so than anything. I want us to be aligned properly, and I want us to land, at the right spot during the day. And I'm just remembering again that we are once again not on an equatorial orbit, so I might as well just forget about it. Let's just set ourselves retrograde and land. But we should do it from this side, so that we're finally not, I don't accidentally land us in the dark again. Unset target. So you guys can actually see what's going on, and not just when we're burning up. Now, we know from experience that our heat shield will explode on a landing on land, but I'm not worried. The heat shield will explode, but the pod will be fine. That's what matters. Where's our periapsis? There it is. Okay. And we want to stop this at around 45,000 cores. Ocean or water landing would be preferable, but we'll be fine on land if we have to. Come on. Okay, we're doing good. Okay, 50, there we go, 45. That should be fine. Should slow us down well enough. So let's go ahead and speed up. This is what this looks like, by the way, from the astronaut's view. Pod automatically sets itself to retrograde because I never switched that thing off for some reason. Alright. And I'm going to do the same thing that we did the last time. Which is I'm going to burn all that's left of our fuel as soon as we re-enter the atmosphere, or more specifically when the music cuts out. Music cuts out at exactly 70,000 meters. Listen. See? That's what signifies that we're back within an atmosphere. So we're just going to burn what's left of our fuel to slow us down a bit. Kind of might as well. Attach that, and once again let gravity take care of the rest. I can switch off stage view so we can see how good the heat shield's holding up. I've never had a heat shield entirely burn out on me before. I have had spacecrafts explode in re-entry. Heck, that happened on some of the adventures that we recorded together, but yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a heat shield fail. Only me fail to put it in the right place. That has happened before. And then once we're done with this, once we're finished with this mission, it's about time that we start thinking about returning to the moon again. We've extended our... Oh, by the way, let's take a look and see what new... We got a pilot. Danzer is a pilot. That's sweet, because we always need lots of those. We're going to have to start thinking about returning to the moon. And we're going to have to start thinking about performing more extensive stays there with more science experiments, maybe even a surface outpost. Because these last couple of rescue missions that we performed, they were good to test out our new parts, to see what kind of an effort it takes to get us out to orbit around Kerbin with these particular rocket ships. And also, obviously, to get us some extra crew. But now we're coming to that point where getting more science data is important, because we're going to need to unlock more parts if we want successful missions. Looks like we might just be getting an ocean landing after all. Yeah, we probably will. That's going to keep slowing down. Our speed is decreasing once again at a rate that I am pleased with. During the course of these missions, I've actually kind of learned to be a bit more, calm about these situations. So now that we have probe cores, we're probably going to be sending unmanned spacecraft to the moon, test out engines and the like, put satellites up in orbit, complete some extra contracts to get more cash and science. So actually no more science really, because I stopped our unpaid research program, if you'll recall. But yeah, it is... Kerbin is not going to give us much more science. Admittedly, during our landings here, we've not been taking surface samples, and that is a small amount of extra science that we could receive. But the bulk of the science that we need now, the science cost of unlocking new technologies is very high, and so we're going to have to be considering targets farther away. If you could deploy now, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay. And now let's speed it up. Okay, I didn't look at this last time. We're coming in at 10 meters per second. That feels fast. Okay, hang on, I can just... Yeah, I could just jettison the heat shield. Once it's no longer needed, I can just jettison it. And then this pod will land on dry land without any kind of problem at all. Now that we're here, though, I believe we already... Yeah, of course we have crew reports, but I don't think we have... do not think we have a surface sample. That's right. That's 12 extra science or a surface sample from here. We also have an EVA report. All right. Get back in. And then let's recover. Just a little extra science, you know. It's... We had that 10 extra science before, we would have gotten our command pods quicker, right? And we have 22 science as a result of that. Well, we also completed one of the contracts, right? That was we're back up to 100,000. That's nice. We got that coin from coin. Too much D&D. We got those credits from completing the rescue. 74,000. That's really good. And that's for just getting her back on the vessel. So that was the partial. This is the full. We're good. All right. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time for the next mission that we put up. Again, I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be, but I promise that I will have it figured out by the time I start the next episode. And all you have to do is watch and enjoy. Thank you very much for being here. Bye-bye.